Alright, hey guys, welcome to another episode of Mr. Tingle Talks. And in this episode we're going to talk all about managing fish habitat and improving it. So, very first thing, remember back, what is habitat? Habitat is just any space where an organism or an animal lives. In this case, for a fish, it'll be something like a pond. Now there's four main requirements that a habitat has to have for that area to be sufficient for that animal to live in. And those four things are food, water, shelter, and space. Now in the fish's world, hopefully the water's taken care of or it's got other kinds of problems. So what we're going to focus on today is the food and the shelter and the space. And those things can all be kind of bundled up in something that we call structure that we put into farm ponds to kind of help these fish thrive. So structure is what we're going to focus on, and this really takes care of the food and the shelter portions for fish. Alright, all structure is just any kind of thing that you put underneath the water for fish to kind of hide in and live in. It gives them a place to find food, to ambush prey, hide from predators like bigger fish or birds or stuff like that, and then lastly it gives it a space to kind of feel protected and nestled into and kind of relax. Why they are important is a lot of times people overlook structure, especially in farm ponds like this. They dig a pond, they fill it in with water, and they go, man, that fish is good to go. It's got water, it's fine. But really, it's fine, it might survive and actually live, but it's not going to thrive unless it has this extra structure to make its world go round. A great example of structure is a coral reef. If you ever learn about those in the ocean, you have this huge bare ocean and all of a sudden you have a coral reef. Once you have a reef, you have little bugs, little fish, bigger fish, and then it's just a whole big system. And it's the same thing you're trying to do in a pond when you add structure to it. So next is, what is structure? What are the different types of structure? There's really two main categories. There is natural structure and there's man-made structure. Natural structure is anything like rock piles, rock ledges, wood piles, fallen trees, anything like that, old logs, old Christmas trees, anything you just put in the water that's natural material. The second part of that is man-made, and the same thing there, it's just anything a man has made that might be interesting and cozy for a little fish to live in that you throw out in the water and it kind of makes the world a better place. Where would you find structure in a pond? You're going to find them anywhere it's kind of like in the 5 to 8 foot depth range, and that's just deep enough for the big fish and shallow enough for the little fish, and it's a good equal medium between the two. Next, how do you improve it? How do you add structure? How do you make all this work? Well, it's easy. If you have natural structure, that's what you're trying to add, natural habitat. That's as easy as taking an excavator and big piles of sticks or big piles of rocks or whatever and just kind of dumping them out strategically throughout your pond. If you want to go the man-made route, that's equally as easy. The first thing you have to do is make something, and the second thing is just put it in the water. So let me show you how to make it. This is how you make maybe what you call a spider block. It's really easy. Here's the ingredients for it. You just need some tubing, a lopper, a concrete block, some concrete, a water, a bucket, and then a stick to stir all that stuff together. The first step to make this is you're going to take your tubing and you need to cut out about 15 pieces that are roughly 3 foot long. You'll see here, I take those pruning shears, those loppers, I take the tubing, cut out my 15 pieces, and after you cut those out, you're just going to set those off to the side. The second step is you're going to mix up your concrete to put in your cinder block. So go ahead and take your concrete, put that in the bucket, and then add water in the bucket and stir it all together until you get a good consistency and a good mixture. You need to be careful here. If it's too wet, the tubing won't stick into it, it'll be too soft, and if it's too dry, the tubing won't adhere to the concrete and they're going to fall over the place as well. So you kind of need that Goldilocks right in the middle, kind of a good creamy oatmeal type consistency of concrete. And the next thing you're going to do is fill in those 2 holes in your cinder block. Fill them all the way to the top, kind of smooth them out, and you don't need to overfill them, and you're on to the next step. The next step is you're going to take those 15 pieces of yellow tubing and just stick them in that block however you want them. It doesn't have to be perfect. Again, you're just trying to make some kind of contraption that little fish can hide in and big fish can too. Fish don't care what it looks like. You just need to stick them in there because it's going to go in the water and do its thing. After this, let that sucker set for a couple days and let that concrete cure and get really nice and hard. And after that, you're ready to go and throw it in the pond. As far as putting it in the pond, that's really easy too. All you need to do is walk up to the bank as far as you can or take a small boat and you're just going to heave it and just chuck it out as far as you can. Once it's in the water, nature takes its course and does its thing, and kind of the steps of that are, the first thing is how it works is the first thing is the algae comes in. Once you get algae, you get bugs. Once you get bugs, you get little fish. Once you get little fish, you get big fish, and then it's a complete oyster. Everything is good to go. So I know I've rambled a lot in this video. I'm going to try to wrap it up really quick. Moral of the story, if you're trying to improve habitat, you're just trying to improve structure in the fish's world. Structure is anything that's under the water that provides that fish with food, shelter, and a kind of a place to settle in and relax. There's different types of structure. There's natural structure and there's man-made structure, and they're really important because if you don't have it, sure, the fish can survive, but it's not going to thrive the way you want it to. There's an example of how to make one, and the last one how it works. Put it in the water, get algae, get little bugs, get little fish, get big fish, all together. So take care, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time. Bye.